This is so boring.
Huh?
This is so boring.
So far. So I want to start like in 1971. I want to go back that far. You arrive in a new country. How did you learn about Canada?
I always knew where it was. That's such a funny question.
It isn't, because I've heard you talk about it before.
About what?
How you learned about Canada. You know
Oh,
where it was.
I know, but
How did you learn about what Canada was like?
I listened to CBC, Peter Zowski.
And what surprised you?
So funny. I thought,
What were some of the first things you learned about Canada?
well, one thing that surprised me was, I laugh every time I think about it, that the different riding associations, where I thought there were where people went riding horses. And I was surprised that it was political divisions, because I hear about them talk about riding associations. But it wasn't, it was political. And grapes were raisins. On our way up, we picked out pop. We're going through this pop case, and there's raisin pop. Who ever heard of raisin pop? And the black flies were very impressive.
What did you find different about Canadians than Americans?
Well, the first thing was, people said, recognize my accent. Then I had a young clerk in the store, did someone teach you to talk like that? They said, you know. I said, well, did someone teach you talk like you talk? And this really, Canadians won't like, but the Canadians' arrogance about how perfect they were, how polite they were. You know, Americans are hated, but everybody likes Canadians because they're always polite wherever they go. And one of the first times I went to a writing, because I was trying to see what was going on, I was kind of interested in writing. I went to a writing something at the library. And this woman just came back from a trip, and she talked about the arrogant Americans wherever they went. And all they talked about themselves, and all they ever talked about was how good they are and how great they are. And everything she was criticizing, she was doing. So I said to the woman next to me, I'm an American. And she said, I was wondering if there were any here. And I met that woman many times after, and she, of course, didn't remember me, but she's very friendly.
Let's talk about writing a little bit, since we're onto that. What was it that interested you in writing?
I think what a lot of kids hear in school, the teacher says you write well, and you get good marks on your writing, and you can tell a story. And then something just sits there, and you think about it, and think you might be interested. But I never thought of a career in writing. I never thought about my goal was to get one article published.
And how did you go about that?
I wrote about Christmas, and I sent it to the American Lutheran. And that was a magazine I knew, a magazine that was in our home when I was growing up, and it was published. So then other things came up, and I joined a writing groups and submitted things.
And what was the first success that made you feel like, beyond the one published article, when did you start feeling like this is something I really want to be more involved in?
I don't know if I ever thought like that. I just wrote things and submitted to groups. I didn't have a burning passion, a burning desire. And then I was asked to write a column for the paper, and so I did that. That was fun. Still am doing it.
And you started a writer's workshop up here.
I didn't start it.
Workshops are the Writers Festival.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that idea?
Because I wanted, it's so expensive to go to a writer's, to go someplace, have to fly from here or drive or something. And I knew somebody that was working at LU in continuing education, so I approached him and asked him if LU would be interested in doing that. And then that didn't work out. So I gotta stop now. Because Aldo left that place and I don't want to say.
Okay, well, we don't have to talk about the place or anything. Why did you want a writers festival?
Well, I wanted to bring writers here so that so the writer could come to us rather than us come to the writers.
And tell me about the first writers festival. Who came and what did you do?
Oh, I talked to Aldo Roberta about it, and he said, well, we can do that. And so we decided, we started talking about it, and people had wanting Greg Hollingshead to come here, and it didn't work out. So then he said, we'll do a writers festival. Who do you want? We said, Greg Hollingshead. He said, I'll get him. So he called him, and he was passing through Thunder Bay, so we had it that weekend, and then we asked 3 local writers, and then we had a festival. Then it was highly successful. And people said, you can't have a writers festival. Dorothy, it won't work. You can't just say you're going to have a writers festival and have a writers festival. And of course that's true, because if I was doing it, I'd sell cookies, but Aldo got sponsors. So it was successful, and it sold out. And people came to see what it was about, and they stayed for lunch, and we ran out of food, and we didn't know we had to check people, that they would just come in and eat lunch. So then we just kept going until it was so successful we had to have a home, something permanent, some permanent place where people could get in touch with people. And we thought we had it at Fort William Historical Park, and then their mandate changed and they couldn't have it there anymore, so it closed.
How many did you have?
7.
7. What was your favorite one?
It's like asking who's your favorite child, you know.
Oh, that's my next question.
Oh, I think what was most exciting was maybe having Alistair McLeod come. But they were all fun.
What did having the Writers Festival mean to you?
A lot of work. It was, I don't know what that question means really. I don't know. It was great. It was successful. And it was, I loved seeing people enjoy themselves. And I think, now that I think about it, was getting to know all these authors I read. And they like me. And they like coming here. And they recommended their friends to come here.
Who are some of the writers that stand out to you?
Lynn Cody gave the best workshop, one of the best workshops we had. Editor Doug Gibson, he came. Terry Fallis came and talked about he couldn't get a publisher, so he self-published. He promoted his book. He was a publisher. He nominated it for the Stephen Leacock Award, and he won that award. And that was really interesting. When Greg Hollingshead walked in at that first one, my friend said, "Be still my heart." He was really good looking, and so was Oh, I gotta think who else. I have to go back and go through, and there were a couple that were disappointing, but for the most part, they really excelled. Everybody did.
And you self-published your own book.
Yeah,
Was that before or after this?
before.
Before? What was that like? What was that process like?
I had columns, and so I picked the columns I liked, and I looked in the phone book to see where I might get a publisher, and I found the name of a publisher, and I called it, and I asked where their office was, and it was Winnipeg. So then I sent them. So then we talked about it, and they would set up the pages and set up the chapters. And I knew I had a small market. I mean, I knew there was no market outside of Thunder Bay. So that's why I did Thunder Bay. And it was successful, and I had a launch. I think that cost me $900, but I made money on it. Sold most of the books. The end.
Let's step out of writing for a little minute and just talk about being here. We got the school that we went to is like right behind the house. So it was pretty easy to interact with the teachers up there. What was it like for you interacting with teachers, having been a teacher?
I don't know, it just grows on you. I mean, you have a kid, you take them to school, and I really don't want to talk about this.
All right. What would teenage boys growing up and going to high school? What was the experience like with each of your three boys as they went into high school?
I hate to tell you, but I don't really remember that it was any. I mean, it was for Jim. It was hard because the teachers went on a rotating strike. I'd send them to school every day, and there'd be no school, and they'd come home again. I don't know. You guys just went to school and did your thing and came home, and I don't think it was any different than grade school. Or, I mean, I don't think, because you don't have a 6-year-old that jumps to being a 13-year-old. You know, they have their friends coming and going, and it's every day. And
what would you say your approach to parenting has been?
Oh, I don't know what you mean by that. I think our family thing is failure is not trying. You know, try things, and if it doesn't work out, you tried, so you succeeded there. Try new things. I mean, you might know more about that than I do. I don't know. You try and instill values. And
what values did you try to instill in us?
Don't steal. Don't spit. Stick up for yourself. Be kind. Be friendly.
All of those stick up for yourself certainly is one that comes up with me a lot. That's one that...
And I think that's probably because my mother was like that. And she's small. She's maybe 5 feet. She wasn't afraid of anything. She was courageous. And don't back down. That doesn't mean when you're trying not to back down, But I mean, don't be aggressive. That doesn't mean being aggressive. It just means if somebody's aggressive toward you, hit back, which isn't common today.
When you say that, though, when I talked to Mark Salonen, he kind of emphasized what you said would be kind. He said everybody knew that the Colbys were the nicest family.
Who's that?
Mark Salonen.
Oh,
Said everyone knew the Colbys were the nicest family.
I'd forgotten that.
So, and obviously,
I don't think people, I don't mean start trouble. Stick up for yourself. I don't mean that. Start trouble. Don't start trouble. Well, that's surprising to hear that. I mean, you told me that, and I was pleased, and I'm pleased to hear it again, but I didn't know that. Did you know that? No.
but this was the house that all the kids came to.
Yeah, well, we liked it.
Why do you think this was the house that all the kids ended up coming to?
I don't know. I don't know.
What did you like about it?
Well, I think it helped. We had a room where you could go and be by yourself. Didn't have a telephone where you could be by yourself, but you could go downstairs and there wasn't somebody looking at you.
You're going to be married for 60 years next year. How'd you pull that off?
Well, I said I'd never divorce Pete because he might find true happiness. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
How do you make a marriage work?
I don't know.
But you did.
I know.
How did you make your marriage work?
Just day by day. I don't know.
What do you think works about your marriage?
Why we're talking about that. I guess you lived long enough. Maybe you don't have any place to go when things are bad. I don't know. Did you ask Dad that? I don't know. I don't know. What did he say?
He said you guys respect each other.
That's interesting.
And he said you bicker sometimes, but even with the bickering, you'll listen to each other, and sometimes it'll change your opinion or what you do because you listen to what the other person had to say.
I guess that's true. You go day by day and you have kids. You're a unit.
What's been the most fun part of your life?
What have I liked doing? I think the most fun is skiing. When we moved up here and went skiing as a family, I always wanted to do that. Always wanted to go someplace and doing something. The kids go to school and I'd go skiing, go with my friends and be outside and go by yourself. You can laugh and it's just fun. Something I could do. It was fun. Another thing I used to like to do is I used to like going swimming in the morning. Get in the water and swim, and it's meditative because your face in the water and you're moving and your thoughts come and go, and that's nice. You're not competing. I don't really like to compete. I love playing bridge. That's fun. And it was fun dancing when we used to go dancing. That was fun. It was fun going on trips with the kids. Fun having children. That was really fun. Going to activities, kids' activities. That was really fun. Your plays. That was a lot of fun. Ball games, baseball and football. Fun seeing your kids performing. It's nice to be, not to be an embarrassment to be in the audience. But a lot of parents don't go, so.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how many parents don't show up to even our baseball games. You just don't see them around. They drop them off and go. It's always meant a lot to me to know that you guys would be there. How many times did you come to Guys and Dolls? It seemed like every night.
I don't think we did that, but it was, yeah.
One thing I talked to Dad about, because he's a scientist, is always seems to be this tension, at least in society now, science and religion. A lot of people don't feel the need to separate them. But in our house, you know, it was kind of like there was science in Dad and there was religion in you. I mean, what role has religion played in your life?
Not much. It's because we had to go. You know, you had to go to church on Sunday. You couldn't go anywhere on Sunday if you didn't, you know, you had to go to church. So by the time Dad was counting money and you'd get home, it'd be 2 o'clock, you couldn't do anything. It was, and then they chose, this isn't going to be what you want to hear, and then they chose what activities we should go to, my sister and I, at the church. Whether we wanted to or not, or whether we liked the people or not. I don't know what they did that they had to get religion. Maybe they had more fun than I did, I don't know. But at this point in my life, maybe the thing about religion is the discipline, and it teaches morality. It teaches there's a discipline to it. And I know when I go to church sometimes I feel close to my folks now, but I'm not sure how much it meant to them. If it was, I don't think I realized until late that religion is a social structure. You know, on the farms, where are the men going to talk to other men? At church. I mean, where do you go where people gather? At church. Where do you go when you're moving as an ethnic group? You go to where your religion is. So I don't know what it means.
I'm going to ask you about, I already talked to you about parenting. It wasn't really much of an approach, it was just you did what you did every day and you tried to instill values. How different for you is parenting and grandparenting?
Well, that's not a fair comparison because you don't live in town. Mm-hmm. It's like when I went to visit my grandparents, 2 weeks out of the year, although we see them more often because we can fly and go back and forth. But it's not like having a grandparent living around the corner or down the street where you see them all the time. And you can see how everybody's on their best behavior.
Do you have an approach to grandparenting?
No, because I don't have, well, I'm not going to tell grandchildren no. They come here if they want 10 cookies, eat 10 cookies. You know, it's not like grandparenting. It's wonderful to see the grandchildren. I love them. And it's exciting. And it's exciting to see your kids have kids and be successful parents. I always think my kids are better parents than I was. And so there's no approach. I don't know. Because we're visiting grandparents. My parents were visiting grandparents and grandchildren. And there wasn't the contact there is now with FaceTime and all that.
What would you want your grandkids to know about you?
Or to remember? I don't know. I want them to like me. I want them to think it was fun. I guess the same thing. You want your kids to love you, like you, learn from you maybe. I don't think any of that's conscious. I don't think you consciously think, I'm going to be this as a grandparent or that as a grandparent. I want to be approving. I want them to have fun, be successful. Don't want them to cry. Don't want them to be hurt. Don't want people to be mean to them. I'm not saying what you want me to say.
No, I'm done. That's it for today.